Welcome to the latest edition of our Seafood News Weekly Roundup show, brought to you by Urner Barry's Compliance Guide for Selling Seafood in the United States. I'm Urner Barry and SeafoodNews.com editor Michael Ramsing, and I and the rest of the Urner Barry team are back from Las Vegas from the 41st Annual Executive Conference Marketing Seminar. It was another excellent show for the country's top egg and poultry industry executives who were treated to rock-solid content, a very unique networking opportunity, and great food. For any of our viewers who were in attendance, thank you very much for your support, and for those of you who have never attended but are curious about the event, head over to www.urnerbarry.com/executive for more information about the event, including dates for next year's conference. We had a couple of seafood people join us this year, and they enjoyed themselves. Anyway, plenty of seafood news was reported since our last show, and we start today's program on the West Coast, where uncertainty in live Dungeness crab exports to China is affecting West Coast sales and shipments. Again, rumors circulated last week that China importers were quarantining U.S. Dungeness crab due to cadmium. Fishermen said a couple of processors dropped the ex-vessel price to them because live shipments to China had slowed or stopped altogether because of presence of the element. Live shipments to China have buoyed the sales of spring and summer crab harvesters once the main Dungeness crab season slows down and larger vessels move into other fisheries. But Comtel subscribers and viewers of this program will know that live sales of West Coast Dungeness crabs to China were severely impacted by an outbreak of domoic acid that resulted in China banning imports of U.S. Dungeness crabs last year. In other news, Maggie Raymond, the executive director of the Associated Fisheries of Maine, said that federal fishery authorities have only one legal option with Carlos Raphael's permits, and that is to cancel them and return them to the quota share pool. Raphael, known within New England industry circles as the Codfather, is the single largest vessel owner in New Bedford. Raphael recently pled guilty to a very long list of fishery fraud and cash smuggling allegations. Meanwhile, the number of seafood items refused entry to the U.S. market by the FDA fell in April, which dragged overall rejections down for the year. Similar to last month, shrimp and filth remain the top species and reasons for refusals. Shrimp rejections are about the same through the first 4 months of 2017 compared to last year. Filth is still the top violation, but accounts for 40% of this year's refusals versus the 60% share of rejections filth was responsible for in 2016. Finally, the volume of Indian shrimp imported into the U.S. market in the first quarter of the year exceeded 2016 levels by about 20 million pounds. Indian shrimp now represents more than a quarter of all imported volumes in the U.S. market this year. According to shrimp import data from the U.S. Department of Commerce, March imports increased 2.3% for the month. Overall imports are now down 0.8%. Meanwhile, Indonesian imports were up for the month and for the year. Thailand and Vietnam imports are down sharply for the month, while other supplying countries are mixed. Argentine imports remain up. Ecuador's March imports were up for the month but remain generally lower because of higher shipments to the Asian and European markets. Ecuador is optimistic that it will sell more than 50% of its white shrimp production to Asia. And that's it for this week's headline news. Remember, all of these premium seafood news stories can be found under various Comtel. If you're a seafood trader in the U.S. market and you don't have Comtel yet, you're missing out on the premier market intelligence platform in the business. Comtel provides far more than market-moving news. Subscribers get access to key market quotations for 1,000 seafood items, complemented with expert market commentary and the largest historical database of market price information in the industry. Sign up today at shop.urnerbarry.com or call us at 732-240-5330. As for this week's top story, the U.S. International Trade Commission voted to retain anti-dumping duties on shrimp imports from China, India, Vietnam, and Thailand. The unanimous vote came at the end of the 5-year sunset review and was more or less expected. This is because the ITC has a track record of continuing duties for 70 to 80% of the time on similar reviews. The ruling means the U.S. Department of Commerce will continue to levy import tariffs on shrimp imported from these countries. Together, India, China, Vietnam, and Thailand account for 55% of the total U.S. shrimp import volume in 2016 and 53% of the shipments in the first quarter of this year. Brazil, which has abandoned the U.S. shrimp market, was dropped from the list of countries subject to anti-dumping duty order. There are no recorded shrimp shipments from Brazil to the U.S. this year. And that's it for today's show, which was brought to you by Urner Barry's Compliance Guide for Selling Seafood in the United States, now available online in an online format. We teamed up with Scott Zimmerman to publish this guide. He's an industry expert with Safe Quality Seafood Associates in Miami. This book covers federal laws and regulations for seafood buyers, importers, and sales professionals in the U.S. market so they can stay compliant and avoid federal fines, product detentions, recalls, and more. But should the worst happen, this guide also features information on how you should prepare a corrective action plan to get your business back on track. Pick up the hard copy or digital guide today by visiting shop.urnerbarry.com or by calling us at 732-240-5330. And you can ask our sales team about rebates for getting both versions. As always, always, you can tell us how we're doing on Twitter by tweeting at us at SeafoodComNews and at UBSeafood, and you can like Urnerberry and Seafood News on Facebook to learn more about what we're up to. For Urnerberry and Seafood News, I'm Michael Ramsing. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back here same time next week with another show. In the meantime, make sure to check Comtel News for more seafood news and market updates from around the industry. See you later.